and مساء الخير أستاذة أحلام أو دكتورة أحلام السلمي يعطيك العافية. Thank you everyone and Dr. Ahmed for attending and welcoming our guests today. تسمعنا دكتور طلال؟
نعم.
Okay. So دكتور طلال المغربي مهتم طبعا في مفهوم تسويق الدول، رئيس مجلس إدارة جمعية التسويق الرياضي، وعضو تنفيذي بمجلس الأعمال السعودي البريطاني، عضو مجلس الأعمال السعودي الفرنسي، وأيضاً عضو مجلس جامعة كرانفيلد البريطانية بالشرق الأوسط. عمل كمحاضر أكاديمي بعدة جامعات منها جامعة برونيلا البريطانية والCBA في السعودية. Thank you Dr. Talal for joining us. And let me break the ice and tell you that when I was doing my master degree and PhD in London, I was hearing a lot about you and your publication and marketing, which is my area. And we're really glad to have you today to enhance our, as academic and students and audience experience about nation branding today. Since you are aware about the topic and have a concern about it, and you believe that it's going to improve people's life and also the awareness about the culture and business in different countries, which will enhance the economy. So the mic is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Hiba. It is a pleasure to be with you all, and it is one of the subjects that I love, and I love to share the experience as well. So today I will be talking about the subject, but as I told Dr. Hiba, I love
make
to
it casual.
Things informal, so we can share the experience. We see what is happening, especially in the Gulf area. We can also talk about different examples, and whatever questions you would like to ask in the end, please do so.
Yes, so, if you allow me, sorry to interrupt, Dr. Ahmed, we would like to welcome him. طبعا he is one of the great people who is working on ITAR Group to enhance the knowledge of and awareness about academic topics. If you kindly, Dr. Ahmed, start recording the session, please. We're going to have a session of 1 hour discussing the topic, and after that we'll have 45 minutes of questions and answers, and we will have it on the chat, and also we will have it if someone would like to raise the question by unmuting themselves. So thank you, and you can start, please.
Okay. انتوا بالسكرين هذا من عندكم ولا من عندكم؟
من عندنا، يس.
Okay, great.
Dr. Talal, the floor is yours.
Okay, thanks a lot. First of all, like I have a different philosophy. Maybe I would like to start with it because a lot of people are talking about the concept of nation branding or nation marketing, or even like we are talking about the city marketing as a new concept. Maybe within the last 25 years ago, people start talking about this. We have a lot of conferences, I think, and even publications about the subject. The first time I joined the conference and I delivered a published paper, it was in 2011 in Lincoln university in the UK. And I saw a lot of people also participating from different countries and different continent on the subject. But when I go back, and this is the philosophy I would like to start with, the concept of nation branding and place marketing or place branding is started centuries ago. The human being and the tribes, they used to go and move from place to place looking for food and water and the right place or the right land to camp and start building and their life. So when they start moving from a place to a place, it is always about the story and about the conversations, and they start asking others about where is the places which it has, for example, the rain, the trees, and even the water to survive. So the first thing is it was about moving, finding places, and about surviving. So as people start to find the right place, which is started about the conversations and about talking about places, they start also either planting and having certain like vegetables, fruits. So now they start another level of conversations about the exchanging of their products and services. So it is another level of conversations about asking what other areas or other places they have. So now they would like to start looking for what is the limitations of resources on other places. So that is also similar to the concept of place marketing or place marketing. Then as if you would like to go for another level, as the technology start to develop, the radio, for example, started. So now they have also limited areas to reach through the radio waves and try to find out how they can sell, for example, their services, their products, what they can get, how they can attract people to the same area they are living with. As the technology evolve, they have the TV, so they can go further to have their products expanding and going to different places. It could be different cities. It could be also different countries. The technology advances, so we have the TV, we have the satellite channels, and also we have the social media, which give you like unlimited reach globally to promote yourself, to promote your city, to promote your country. But the main concept is behind all of this is about promoting the resources that you have, and you are moving from a place to place, looking for the right place to live in, and then you try to promote it for the exchange with services that you do not have, as well as you attract international investors, you attract visitors to try to grow and develop your place. So the concept itself, I feel it is not new. It is centuries ago, but now within the different theories and how those theories merge together, and we have all those publications and conferences, so the people are talking about it more. And also I will give you another story why it is important, especially now with all the advancement of the aviation industry. But I will give you also like another story how the concept itself is start and built about the human being himself as the human capital, and why is it also important for us to start with ourselves before we think about the nation branding. When I started my scholarship in 1990, it was immediately after the Gulf War. I went to the States. The journey was long. It was the first time for myself to be away from my family or my mother. So I was even trying to reject going abroad myself. So I traveled from Saudi Arabia, from Jeddah to New York, and then another 4 hours with a group that the first time I met as a Saudis to start the English language. And then from New York, after waiting 4 hours, we traveled another 7 hours to Seattle, Washington, and there also spent hours They try to give us like the rooms in the dorms, try to put us with the like a roommate with you, like two in a room. And
new culture completely.
It is like almost more than 24 hours without even talking to your family or your mother or telling them that you have arrived. We have no mobiles at that time. But the story started when I opened my bag. I found a piece of paper. I still have it until now with the hands of my mother telling me, like always try to be surrounded with the good people, try always to pray in time, do not go anywhere, because I don't want people to say that my mother Fatma has not raised you in a right manner. So from that time, I start thinking of like all your attitude, all your behaviors is not only about yourself. It is about how you are going to reflect that on your, what we call it as a personal branding. So it will reflect you as a human. Also, it will has like an impact and on your family. So whatever behaviors you do, it will have like an impact on your family. Then it has another impact within the circle to
culture and country.
And then about the city you are coming from, the culture you are coming from, then the country. So the start of the nation branding is start from you as a person, because most of the countries or all the countries, they invest on the human capital. The human capital is about the country itself. Without having a human capital, you cannot have a country. As we say, like without يعني الإنسان ما حيكون عندك وطن. وبالتالي this is a very important subject. So when we move also like to the same journey, I moved after that to different cities in the state, but I start to see how people are more eager to help others, and it is about the soft power from the countries. Is like the United States. When I was in St. Louis University, I see all the young generations. In that time, it was the era of the AIDS. So people trying to help within their science. They moved to the different countries in Africa to try to raise awareness, helping families there about the disease. So I felt that most of the people are trying to satisfy themselves, try to also have an impact about their families, about the city they are coming from, and also using their knowledge and science to help others without even thinking about the danger that they are going from a country to a country. Then as I moved even to like another university in the state, it was like Kent State University in Ohio. In that time, it was the 9/11. So here is another important story for me. After the 9/11, within a couple of months, it's called like Columbus Day. My neighbor, who is like studying in undergraduate in the university, I never seen from him anything towards me or my family. But I think in the Columbus Day, maybe he was like drunk, or he tried to behave wrongly towards my family and try to break the home. So I wasn't home that time. So my wife reported to the police, and it was the first incidence of a hate crime after the 9/11 in the north of America. So most of the media, they were covering this in front of my house and his house, because it was like a duplex. So the story started to move around the state, especially in the prime time. So here is a very important point, and the story that I am always telling in my lectures. I received a call around almost 10 o'clock at night from a lady. She introduced herself as a doctor from Washington, a doctor in psychology. And she was telling me, I watch your the reports, because I was talking and he was also talking, and he denied all what he done. And she said, I was looking from the address that appeared on the report, and I found your number. So she was, in the end, she was crying. What she's telling me, like, she believes me and not believing him from a psychological background, because that is her background. And she told me, please please, when you go home, do not tell that all the Americans treated you as the neighbors. So she doesn't want to generalize a single behavior about all the behaviors of the Americans. So that is also giving me another important thing. How is our single behavior could impact the country as a nation and give an attitude about the country, because our behavior is like a mirror that will reflect the image as we are starting to build like a brand image about our countries. We cannot change that brand image if the people, they see us behave without visiting us in the country. So that is like also give me how important is the nation branding and how you can build certain expectations about your country, but it is started from you as a human, and how is that reflect your behaviors when you behave and also you study either in your country or globally. So taking that to considerations, we see, for example, why is it now with all the social media, with all the changes in the technologies, and we have different platforms. We cannot even be in all of them. We cannot even be having the right experience in all of them. So I am just like using Twitter. I cannot use all the different platforms within the technology. But all of that give us like no boundaries on reaching the globe and try to influence ourselves. So whatever we do, that cannot be erased and always will be there. So why is it important to start with the personal branding as a human before we go to the nation branding? Now the globe is coming as like a one village, as they talk about, and also countries are moving and investing in different countries. Saudi, for example, since I'm from Saudi or even the UK or others, they try to find like international investors to come and invest in the country. And those international investors, when they come, they will bring their expertise, their investments, and also they will look for a local expertise who can lead their investments, because they will not bring all the human capital from their countries. They will bring maybe a few within to have the expertise, but then they will look for a common ground on the country where their business will grow and sustain and develop the countries. And that is why is it very important for the countries to first to invest on their human capitals within different skills, as we will give examples about different countries as we go on. So when you have a personal branding with the right knowledge, with the right expertise, and also try to position yourself in the social media or whatever platforms about your expertise and making the people knows your goals, your objectives, how you link your objectives to, for example, to the United Nations Sustainable Goals and other things. Here you can also try to attract yourself to the international investors when they come to the country. So that is very important for us to try to be engaged in the right way, because that will give an impact and show how the country, they have the right human capitals when they try to visit the countries. I think there is a problem with the sound.
Is everyone hearing us clearly? Is the voice clear, ladies and gentlemen?
If you cannot hear me, please just let me know. Okay, I'll try to raise my voice as much as
Please.
Thank
you very much.
So when we also try to start with other things, it is the type of journeys. We see in the different researches for Muslims or even non-Muslims, all the different publications, they talk about almost like 3 types of journeys. The first one, which is even you find it in the different publications, but it could be more to us as Muslims, which is the journey to Hajj and Umrah. So this is maybe a journey that people that will go for Hajj and Umrah. There is another journey which is for the people who would like to go for educations, for tourism, for looking for trade, like different type of journeys. And we have another one which is about, like, it's called the spiritual, different than the Hajj and Umrah, but it could be for all human beings who would like to go for relaxations, for a spiritual journey, or for even being away from the life and just think of the natures and link it to its creations and others. So this is the three types of journeys that also have an impact on the nation branding as we go on.
Dr. Talal, really interesting what you have been discussing, especially that how can we link the goals of countries to, for example, the main goals around the world for improving, for sustainability, for having a better lifestyle, or finding the most strong resources in the country and enhance it and market for that. Properly improve the customer service that can be provided. If you also explain for us how can countries change the stereotyping they have, how can they enhance the marketing skills regarding especially the great competition around the world and around the cities for marketing themselves and for nation branding.
Okay, great. So I will cover this in just a minute, but I will go to this through, like, how is the development of the aviation industry help us to go to all what you have just asked. If we go back to the 50s, there is the Pacific Southwest Airlines started, and then in the 67. The Southwest Airlines started in the United States, which is related to the LCC, the low cost carrier. So that is like the economic airlines that helps human to move globally within the right affordable price. So the travel is not like a luxury for a certain group. That help groups to travel fast, not going through the sea or traveling through the car. So that gives like a mass movement globally with all people are traveling either in their country or even globally within an affordable price. So that help people or even the countries now to start to compete by themselves to find how we can attract like tourism to our country, how we can attract even international investors, because now it is not about my country. I need to give that competitive advantage about my country and about the influence that a country can do. So within that improvement in the aviation industry, we see the Global Tourism Organization start to have a different type of tourism. We have now a tourism about the expeditions, about just relaxations, about educations, sport tourism, medical and health tourism. We have a lot of different now names for tourism. So in each country, going back to your questions, they start now to see what is the resources that we have in our country to try to give us the competitive advantages. Countries, they have limited resources. Some other countries, they have like a big country in their size, for example, such as America, Australia, Canada, Argentina, Saudi Arabia, and different countries where they have a big size in the country, and they have also like a lot of resources, different geographical area, even the climate is different, so they have a different demands. Other countries, maybe they have a very cold weather, so they will have a very limited opportunities to compete, so they try to find ways to attract international visitors. When it comes, like if I would like to give an examples about Saudi Arabia, one of the few countries in the world where they have a demand like a 365 days demand. That is because of the nature of Hajj and Umrah. So the Umrah, they have a huge demand. I know some countries, they have even a queue of years for people to find like ways to go and be for Umrah. Saudi Arabia doing a lot of huge development in this case to try to increase the numbers, also to increase the size of the two holy mosques to accommodate more people. So that will give even countries more opportunities to attract international investors based on the resources. So when we go back to the new concept of nation branding, there is like a guy, his name Simon Onholt from the UK. He said that we could treat, it was in 1998, he said we could treat countries as product or services. So we can apply the same strategies that we apply for product and services for the nation branding, but based on my philosophy, I feel that the place marketing and the place, it was since the human beings start moving from land to land. So when we talk about this, I would like to also start with, like, we see some countries that are focusing more on the media to promote their countries without having a clear vision or strategies. So the nation branding itself, or the city marketing, as we talk about it later, it's not about only a PR, it's not about only the media. It is about long vision strategy that you need to develop. You need to know all the keys that will help you to have a very sustainable, strong brand, because it's not about only building an image. It is about having a true image based on the expectation confirmation theory. You cannot build certain expectations, then it will either be confirmed or disconfirmed. So if it's disconfirmed, that will make people dissatisfied and discontinued to come to you, as well as to have the right investments on the country. So when we talk about this, it is started from internally. The countries mainly will start on investing on the human capital. They need to build up people with the right skills. So when as we said, like other countries will come and invest or visit, they will have the right qualified people on the country, because the perceptions, and we will give an examples of some European countries where even the human capitals, they have a bad stereotype and perceptions about those countries, even they are in the Western world. This is very important. So most of the countries will start from internally, will make people, they believe on their country, they believe on the vision of the country. They will start to involve all the stakeholders to launch, for example, like a strategy similar to the Vision 2030, where all the stakeholders being engaged, they are seeing the development, they can measure it, all the benchmark and the KPIs is always published from different ministries. The ministries are competing to achieve those goals. So the world are watching, the citizens are watching, and they feel they are part of it and they are proud of it. So the minute you increase that sense of loyalty of your citizen on the country and its strength and its global influence, the people, they will feel that they want to be part of this vision, as well as to be part of the land. Other countries, they have a very issues of, especially if they cannot be linked with the land and the clear vision. Even from European countries, we see it where the talent people, they start to leave and move and leak to other countries. So other countries will start to attract, for example, people from countries where they do not have the right jobs, they have very high unemployment, they do not have a clear vision and strategies, they are not giving the influence on other countries. So we do not, most of the countries, including Saudi Arabia, they do not want their talented people to leave. They want them to be part of the development. So most of the countries, when you start on any nation branding strategies, they need to start within in-house about increasing that sense of loyalty and sense of having them engaged on the vision, to try to develop all the cities as well as the regions. We have 13 regions where they are going to compete with each other, as well as then the brand image for the country.
Dr. Talal, if you may allow me, very interesting, and we really like the storytelling way you are explaining to us the concept. I would like to ask a question that usually the audience in ITAR Group would like to raise regarding theory. So what type of theory that is supporting nation branding for our audience, the academic audience, also to have more ideas about it, please?
Okay. For myself, I'm coming from a marketing background with a very passion and interest on the nation branding. So I'm using my like a theory within the expectation confirmation theory and others, where I combine it when I used or I participated in the first conference about the city and nation branding. It was in Lincoln University, and my paper was focusing on the spiritual journey and how we can promote Saudi through the spiritual journey. And I used like a theory that I will explain later, where it focused on building the quality of information, the quality of right skills on training people that will increase the trust within the human, the trust within the people who are going to know more about Saudi. That will always link with something called like usefulness, which is related to the values that you would like to share. And we see, for example, most of the initiatives in Saudi Arabia, the latest initiatives, it is related about the human values and about protecting, for example, the environment, protecting the earth, trying to show Saudi as a leaders on helping the globe. Is not only taking care about its countries. The journey of Prince Mohammed bin Salman lately, he said it clearly to all the GCC countries that the development of Saudi Arabia is part of the development of all the GCC. We cannot see Saudi moves without moving the GCC countries. So this is like the countries always try to show them as a leader, taking and creating global conversations about the initiatives that they raise. So when you have that usefulness comes in on the theory, that will have an impact on something called the enjoyment. So people that will enjoy the process, they will enjoy that you are a leaders on this part. And also you link it with, for example, the 17 goals of the United Nations. Then you will have something called either in the theories, we call it as subjective norm or the social pressure. So people that will start to have the right influence, they try also to influence on others. That will lead to something called the continuous intentions, where people that will have a continuous intentions to believe on the country, to visit the country, to revisit the country, and recommend the countries to others. But within that concept, also there is a few elements that will be very important for the visitors when they try to visit countries, as well as for the investors, they look for it, and we'll explain it as we go forward. But as we always talk, when we talk about this subject, could be nice to mention it here. We always say, like, if you do not have do great effort on building your country brand image, others will try to do this for you for a purpose that will serve them, not serving you. بالعربي يعني إذا أنت ما تقوم يعني بمجهود كبير لبناء الصورة الذهنية اللي أنت تحتاجها، آخرين سوف يقوموا بذات العمل لأهداف تخدمهم ولا تخدمك، وبالتالي أعدائك يقوموا يعني بخلق صورة ذهنية قد تناسبهم وتناسب أهدافهم ولكن لا تناسب أهدافك. That's why is it very important for each country, including, for example, Saudi Arabia, as well as also I mean from coming or living in the UK for a long time, so even the UK, and I will give an examples about how is the ambassadors of different countries in Saudi Arabia are competing each other to try to raise the awareness of their countries for the purpose of having different investments, try to penetrate on the Saudi market. So when we talk about the nation branding itself, why is it important for the countries? It is for different reasons. I will just explain a few. It is about building the trust. So if the countries, when they have the right trust, that will attract investors and visitors, and also having showing the sustainability of the political system on the countries. And we see countries are fighting to try to attract investors. And when we, for example, we say it is about the country and about the trust, it is about also the global influence, because countries, they want to have a global influence, whatever their size is. They want to have like a say on changing different policies globally. So when they have that trust and they have the sustainability in their political systems, and also they're leading with the initiatives globally, that will make people from around the world, even organizations who are taking care of the climate change, and they see the country as Saudi Arabia also launching initiatives that is not only for the city or the country of Saudi Arabia, but this is a global initiatives. So people that will have more trust and support for whatever the country says as a Saudi when they try to change policies globally or even regionally. So that is also something very important. And also that will help to attract, as we say, like the global investors to come to invest in Saudi Arabia. So also, like, we have a lot of different things, as we can say, for example, about having an impact on the tourism industry, attracting visitors, having what is called the quality of life. So people, when they come to countries, they want also to know about the quality of life in the country. In the end, it is very important that will enhance the loyalty for the citizens of each country when they see the country is not only taking care of their citizens, the quality of life in the country, but also they see their countries are taking the lead as leaders globally by launching global initiatives that will create and generate the global conversation. So everybody is talking about Saudi, what they're doing. We see it in the Formula One whenever we talk in the media or an international media covering.
And the Red Sea Festival as well, Dr. Talal, which took place a couple of days ago.
Yeah. Yes, and the media are not talking about only those type of events we are taking place now in Riyadh, Jeddah, Ula, most of the cities, but then they will try to also cover the initiatives, the changes taking place in Saudi Arabia. I think the slogan on the Red Sea Festival they are using is Amwaj of al-Taghir. So that is like waves of changes taking place in Saudi Arabia.
Correct. There is a great and predominant changes in Saudi and improvement in different fields. And honestly, some of the events is taking place for the first time, but the organization and the service provided was really great and huge. I think also different ministries in Saudi Arabia also is active about this point. Let's talk about the Ministry of Culture and the different categories they're having to enhance cinema, to enhance theater, to enhance cooking, culture, fashion, different concepts about Saudi, to give more awareness about the Saudi culture and the variety that some people does not know, or some people don't know really the variety we have in weather and nature and culture. So if you just give us more about, or more information about the role played by the Ministry of Culture.
Okay, I think even 2 years ago, I was in the NBC. I talked about the Ministry of Cultures and how great the jobs they are doing, especially they have different, I think 11 commissions under them, which every one of them is doing great job on registering some sites with the UNICEF, with the UNESCO. We see it in Al-Ula, in Jizan, in different areas. So that will lead me also like, what is the right elements, as you just mentioned, that will help the countries to have the right nation branding. Number one is having a heritage and the wealth of different civilizations on the country. So when we see it in Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia, it's since the human started, it is like a place of changing the trade. It has different civilizations, different geographical area, the historical area, a lot of different resources, you name it. So the country is very, very rich with all types of resources that will attract international investors, tourism. We can even generate different types of sports because we have a wealth of geographical area with a different climate and weathers. So that is, you cannot see it in all of the countries. And in marketing, we say always that location always will give you the competitive advantage if you have a great locations and different resources that will help you to sell like even product and services. With the right location, you can sell good and bad products, but with a bad location, you cannot sell good or even bad products. So the locations of Saudi Arabia connecting different continents that will give Saudi a competitive advantage, utilizing all the resources and the heritage and the civilizations we have, link it to different initiatives as we see it in Al-Ula. Also engaging now, I think Saudi Arabia is taking, as we are talking about, the most important things on nation branding is investing on the human capital and engaging them as a stakeholders. We see it now clearly in Al-Ula. They have a scholarship program where they send people from Al-Ula who have been born and raised in Al-Ula and part of the tribes there to send them to the best universities globally, studying things that related to all the initiatives that they can create and engage people within Al-Ula so they can be part of the local development of their economy and also try to raise it, because now here we have the loyalty, the people who feel that they are helping their cities to be as part of like a global cities. We see it now in Soda. They have the same program now started in the south of Saudi, and I think that will be generalized in most of the cities where you try to engage the local people, the local stakeholders on helping you expedite achieving your visions of Saudi Arabia.
By training, by welcoming, by providing better services, which it's already improving more and more.
Yeah, and as you said, Dr. Hiba, that also linked to the fashions, you can link the civilizations of that area or the cities or even their history to any designs that will come as a global designs within the fashion. It could be also for the food coming from a different. So when we come, that is also part of the soft power we are going to talk about, because when it comes about the soft powers, all of us, we eat hamburger, we eat pizza, we watch different American or Western movies. I think even the West, they have a stereotype about most of the globe. When they talk about the Western, they try to link it to America, not to the West as a whole. I see that even in United Kingdom, where they are getting angry when it comes people they do not know the right British movies. They do not know even their journals and publications. So people are talking about the best education in America, the best publication and researches in America, the best movies in America. And even if people, they talk about, when I was talking to Khalid Al-Angari, Dr. Khalid Al-Angari, the Minister of Education, long time ago, I was telling him how we need to brand the education system in Saudi, because if we do not have the right branding, even for the educations, we cannot have the right trust for our universities in Saudi Arabia, because even if you go and ask a person who is, for example, a taxi driver or who never been maybe outside his city, and you tell him about the education systems and what is the best education systems, he might always refer to America or to the West as a better education system without even studying, without even traveling abroad. So that is like an issue most of the countries are facing, try to give a competitive advantage and focus on their educations, on their health systems, because that will help them to share their knowledge and expertise and even their companies to expand globally. And we see it in Finland, for example, try to brand themselves, even their educations and their technologies as a solution hub for most of the problems. We see it in Germany, trying to promote themselves as the best technology. So that means they have the best engineering science in Germany. We see it in Singapore. Also, they invested on the different discipline, especially in engineering. We see it also in South Korea and different countries. That will, because some countries, they have a limited resources, but when it comes to, for example, to Germany, they worked long time to try to come up with that type of trust, where people, when you come to any products you would like to buy, if you do not know anything about the products, you always link it to the origin of the country. For example, if it's Germany, that means it's a high quality. If it's Japan, it's a high quality. So that means the importance of building a nation brand is very important, not only for the country itself, but also for its product and services to have a nice way of expanding and being exported to globally, and also to be linked to the human, because as we say it in marketing, like if you are confused about which product you choose, you do not know about the quality of the product, usually you go with where it is the made of the product or the origin of the product. So you link it to the countries, if it's like, as I said, Japan or Korea, and we see it through the pandemic, as well as even when we ask our grandparents, if you ask them about the quality of the products, and you mentioned China, always the China is linked to mass productions, but low quality. So China, until now, they cannot move from that stereotype and that bias or discriminations, but the whole manufacturing and the whole countries globally, they cannot also not use the mass productions of China. So China is it could be the only country that they can produce massively.
Post leadership.
Yes, and most of the countries, they are using China because they have the capabilities on delivering, they have the capabilities on producing. So we see it now even in
competitive advantage for them.
Yes. And we see it in most of the products, even in America. It says this designed and like in the United States, manufactured in China, assembled in the United States, for example, again. So that means the products itself is being manufactured in China, but based on the standard of America or the UK or Saudi.
Like in the car and automobile service, there are a lot of that lately. Yes. Dr. Talal, if you can, we still have like 10 minutes. So if you would like to provide us some of the advice or some of the steps that can enhance the nation branding for countries, so every one of us can get some advice to work on that on their country on a personal level.
Okay, as I said, just because it's in front of me now, when I, for example, about the stereotype about the countries and how is it important for us as a human to behave first as well as the countries, I have one studies about the stereotype in Europe, where Germany and the citizens of Germany come always as honest, as heavy worker and a trustable people, where, for example, Bulgaria, Greece, and other countries comes in a very like the bottom stage. So that's if you build a stereotype about even the people and how the people even behave globally when they travel globally, that will also have an impact on the country itself, as well as the country when they have a brand image, a very strong brand image. And that brand image, as we say it in the expectation confirmation theory, will be confirmed when, for example, the countries are investing in Saudi and they are going to use the talent people and the human capital in Saudi. If they can deliver, they can give those investors the right skills, then that will be all confirmed. So that is one of the stereotype we see it. So as you just said about the strategies on building a strong brand image, that will start first from the leaders So when it comes to the politics, you have to have people from the top leaders. They believe on building a strong brand image and building the right team to deliver this. And we see it, for example, in Saudi Arabia, even the economical اللي هو مجلس الاقتصاد الأعلى is led by His Royal Highness, and all the ministers sit in one table. So no ministry can say, for example, we have an obstacle from the other ministry because he's sitting in the same table and discussing this like together, try to ease all the policies. Number two, it comes about the stability of the political systems on the country. Number three, it comes to being flexible to change the policy and procedures. And we see it, for example, in Saudi Arabia, just in the last 2 years, all the policies being changed. We thought some of the policies, maybe it will never change, not only about having, for example, giving more of opportunities to the female or giving them back their rights or driving. I think that is the easy part. But when it comes to the difficult part, is changing some of the policies about the law. Now we are using a lot of the technologies to have the court. You do not have you need to go to the court, so you can have a virtual online meeting. You can have all your documents being digital, related to whatever sensitive information is being protected and being digital. So that is a huge advancement when it comes to the digital revolutions in Saudi Arabia. So having the flexibility in changing all the policy and procedures to accommodate the needs of the international investors, for example, giving them the rights to invest in Saudi Arabia, giving them to own 100% of their businesses, all that will attract the international investors on the country. So that is very important on the country. I will also try to give you like about other elements, as we said, about the politics, about also having a country is being secured, having the right infrastructures on the country. We have the right health ecosystems is accessible to reach the countries. So we have airports in most of the cities that will give the country accessibilities to have international visitors, as well as the easy of movement within the country. So people, when they look for the brand image of the country, they will look for these elements, as well as having variety of activities in the country. As Dr. Hiba just said, that we have a lot of different activities now taking place, attracting global visitors and the global media. It comes when it comes to sports, to like cinema, movies, a lot of things taking place right now. The Rally Dakar, Rally Hail just ended yesterday, the Formula. So it's, you just name it, you cannot even catch up with all the activities.
Indeed.
So that is one of the things that people look for. And when we look for also what is the motives for people to travel. So we see people travel because of spiritual things. People, they travel because of sport activities, visiting relatives, nice weather, shopping, tourism, a lot of things, visiting historical places, for educations, for health reasons, visiting hospitals, for example, in a very advanced countries with hospitals. So knowing this motives for people where they move globally, they will help also the countries to set up the right strategies where they want to focus more. Saudi Arabia is a huge country. They have 13 regions, and those regions, they could also compete with themselves. So we have the northern region, for example, that also could attract startups, entrepreneurs, where they can join the universities, and we can use the Tabuk, Hail, Hub, or regions for connecting them to the Middle East, also to the Eastern Europe, as well as to the Western of Asia. If you go to, for example, to the south of Saudi or to the west or the north, or even the center, where you can create and compete with 13 regions, and they can attract and have different background and different resources in each one of those 13 regions, where we can use the motives of people why they travel. We can link them to the 17 global goals, and also link them and align them with the Saudi nation branding. So all of this will help us to wrap up, if we can say, like, we still have a lot of things to cover, but I think if we can have the questions from the audiences, that will help us also to answer some other questions. But just I will end with something called the local economic development, where when you have a clear vision of a country, that will help the country to expedite building and developing its infrastructures. So when you have the right infrastructures, you will have the right R&D, you will have the right training and enabling of your human capitals. That will give you different models to attract international investors as well. Also, that will give you the innovations and the creativity of even creating different packaging for different cities for the tourism industries. And that also will link us to something called the pull-push strategy, where we pull people, for example, to Riyadh, and then we drive them and push them to a smaller cities such as Diriyah or other cities. When it comes to Jeddah, for example, we can drive them to a smaller cities, and we develop a smaller cities economy there. So a lot of different strategies. It's a very big subject, but I hope that I covered at least some of the important elements on this 1 hour.
Dr. Talal, mashallah, you cover a lot and you simplify the idea, I think, for everyone. I would like to thank you for this interesting topic. And I would like also to ask our audience to raise their questions. They can write it on the chat, or they can unmute themselves and start asking. So you can start if we have more questions now. Doctora, let me, before receiving questions, let's not forget one of the very main parts that really have a predominant role to improve the culture of people in Saudi Arabia, the scholarship that was provided for students to travel abroad in the high and the best university rankings for master and PhD and bachelor degree. So this really create kind of awareness and more globalization between culture, and they return back to the country providing some kind of thanking for the country for what it's doing, and how can they become really, everyone can be ambassador for their country. So this is really one of the main part, and this is the part that introduced me to you as example, for example, and for also Dr. Charles Dennis. He's one of the great colleagues in marketing as well. So
if I can add one point here, Dr. Hiba, for this subject, most of the countries, they love their people also to visit and go with what they call like the local tourism. But most of the countries, they encourage their people also to go and travel abroad, because that is part of the nature, that is part of the human being. But other countries, they try to train their people about how they can represent the country when they go abroad. But it's very important, the scholarship program, because hopefully the scholarship program is not ended by only getting a degree. You are being an ambassador for your country. You have generated a lot of friendship there, and your supervisor is the number one point when you go back to your university. For example, if you are working in university or you are working in any field, when you would like to come up with consultations, when you would like to come for like a joint research, the first contact point, it will be your supervisor. So having the right connections within your university, that will help you to bring expertise from whatever university you have studied with. You try to enhance and have the right knowledge transfer to your country. So hopefully people, they will, when they go there, it's not only about getting a degree and coming back. You will be the right ambassadors, and also think about your future career, having the university where you studied with, having the colleague you studied with who are coming already from different countries globally. That will be part of your network when you try to have like a research or a consultations. You might have a friends from Australia, from Finland, from Netherlands, from whatever country. So those people will be your treasure for any joint projects globally.
Excellent, excellent. Okay.
Until we have a question, I will just also try to highlight one important point. Why the countries, they need to focus on their nation brand. It's four main elements, which Dr. Hiba also explained. It is for investments. So when you have a very good and huge brand image, that will attract local and international investors because of the quality that you have, the right policy and procedures, the right political systems. Also, when you have a strong brand image, that will help you easily to export your product and services. So people that will try to accept your product and services because of the strong brand image you have. People are willing to pay extra if you have a strong brand image, and we see it in products, for example, from Japan, from Germany, where we pay extra because of the brand image, and also because we link it with the quality of products and services coming from these countries. So Saudi now made something called Made in Saudi Arabia, where they try to link the brand image of the country with all its products. So they have like a certificate you put that it says Made in Saudi Arabia. So that will give like a privilege for the country, as well as the trust based on all the initiatives Saudi are doing. So this is number two. Number three, also about the civilizations and the cultures. When you have a strong brand image, people globally, they are willing to read more about the country, to understand more about the country, and then they go to like the fourth step, where to visit the country. So they are willing to go with trust on the country to visit the country, because building a brand image, that will give, as we said, the trust. That means the country has the right infrastructures. That means the country has the right infrastructure, even the health, the clean environment, easy to move, easy to get access to. They have the right hospitalities, the right hotels. So that will help more people to come and visit your country. So it is like, it's not only we want like a global influence, because you want that huge movement, as we say, because of the advancement of the aviation industry. You want a lot of people to come to you to try to raise your economy and give you the boost of the economy to have a very sustainable economy.
Thank you, Dr. Talal. I received a question on the private messages about, is there a way to evaluate the nation branding from time to time, like what's going on, what can we improve, what we need to add, and learn from our mistakes, which is normal. And if we don't do mistake, we're not going to reach success, I believe.
Yes, there are now a lot of research globally. So you can, for example, you can read case studies, you can read researches, academic research about the nation branding. You can participate on different conferences to see the benchmark of other countries, what they are doing, how they are comparing themselves to other countries. For example, Africa itself, they want to have strategies for each country, because now when we talk about any country in Africa, which is a huge continent, we link them, all the countries, as an African countries. And the African countries linked with instability in their political systems. They have, for example, poverty, they have less educations, they have a lot of issues. So the countries now, when you come to Africa, the countries, they need to distinguish themselves as a country, not being linked with a stereotype as a continent. the same applied to the countries. But for example, there is a model by Bloom Consulting for a nation branding. It's called the Nation Branding Wheel. So there is elements where they evaluate the country based on those elements. So they evaluate the countries on the type of investments they are attracting globally, and the type of investments that will come to your country if you have the right strategies, the right political systems, the right policy and procedures, which we cover, based on the level of tourism in the countries. So when we come about the tourism, you are talking about all the activities you are doing, and the people who are welcoming others. They will find the right infrastructures, the right services, the right food. All of this is part of evaluating the tourism, and also the experience the people have during visiting the country, and also about the talent. So people, they will evaluate the countries about the talents that they have, the human capital, the workforce, and also about, it's called the prominence. So that is how people are admiring their countries and they love their countries, and about the exports. So how much you are exporting globally, or you are only like an importer country or exporter country. So this is the 5 elements, which each one comes under it a lot of other factors, where most of the global consultations or the global institute, they give reports and they provide reports on the soft powers or the global nation branding, using these 5 elements when they try to do any evaluations.
Thank you, Dr. Talal.
About the same things, to the same questions. If you just compare what is happening in the GCC, maybe before the Gulf War, even before that, I think Kuwait was leading the area about the, for example, it comes to the cinema, the development, the infrastructures. After that, I think Kuwait stopped there, and Saudi Arabia started to take the lead. Then it comes Dubai, specifically, where people globally, they know Dubai more than United Arab Emirates. That generate, if you call it like a jealousness of Abu Dhabi. So now Abu Dhabi are also trying to because there are 7 different regions, but now United Arab Emirates, especially Dubai, they took the lead for many years, and they have a very competitive advantage. So the GCC countries or even other global countries, they always try to copy what is Dubai is doing. I think the last 5 years, Saudi is taking the lead far advanced than the GCC, and also trying to create and launch those global initiatives, which they create and generate the global conversations. So that will help Saudi Arabia to distinguish itself from the other GCC countries, where it will have like the Saudi names or the Saudi country always will give like a beep globally. So when you try to invest in this region, which is the best country you invest in, so it will come Saudi Arabia, because they have a flexibility on the systems, they have the right infrastructures, they have a mass mega projects, and also the right incentives for the global investors. So that's why we need always to try to see what other countries are doing, why other countries are going to Dubai or any countries to invest in, to do the benchmark, to learn from them, and try to give us the right competitive advantage, as well as to be a leaders and make the others being followers for us. So that's mean we need always to be fast when we move forward.
Interesting. Dr. Talal, I received another question regarding key authors in nation branding for audience to go and read more about it. Maybe they want to use it in publication as well.
I don't know a lot of names, but I know Professor T.C. Malaware.
All right, Middlesex University, where I graduated from.
he can be maybe one of the first who generated publications and generate the first conference about the place and city marketing. With him in the team, Professor Charles Dennis, as well as there is another professor from an Italian university. Those three, they are could be named as the first three who they moved in, like started the concept in 2008 while launching publication as well as the conference. But now you have like a lot of conferences, a lot of publications, a lot of students. I know, I'm not sure if he's with us or not, Dr. Tariq from Kuwait. He's based in Portugal. He's studying about the soft power and the nation branding, and he has a very good initiatives trying to help the GCC countries. We see it now in Saudi. The country itself start to understand the concept of nation branding, as well about the importance of soft power, even though I don't like the media to talk about soft power a lot, because you need to use the concept and talk about the unconscious of the mind of the human to change them, to influence them, but do not tell that I'm using this as a soft power to change you, because it will backfire on you. But if you just search on the Google Scholars about publications, nation branding, place marketing, city marketing, you will find it a lot. You'll find a lot of publications. But myself, always I say the brand image for a country, it comes from the heritage of its political systems. So we need to have the brand of a country. Then as we build that brand for a country, we need to compete on the level of what is called the city marketing. Also in the city marketing, you will find a lot of different publications and conferences, because that will give also the cities to compete. Because ourselves, we are linked emotionally more of cities, not countries. So most of your emotions, your memories is linked to London, Paris, whatever you have like an emotions and memories with, not with the countries. So that is also something very important as we build the nation brand. We need to compete on the level with the city marketing. That where you will attract investors, visitors, and also to link the experience with the cities such as Al-Ula, Dir'iyya, whatever. Mostly we are linked emotionally with cities, not with the countries.
Thank you, Dr. Talal, for this informative presentation and workshop. We really appreciate your participation. شكر للدكتور طبعا طلال المغربي اللي كلمنا اليوم عن آليات مفهوم تسويق الدول. هو مهتم في مفهوم تسويق الدول، رئيس مجلس إدارة جمعية التسويق الرياضي، عضو تنفيذي بمجلس الأعمال السعودي البريطاني، عضو مجلس الأعمال السعودي الفرنسي، عضو مجلس جامعة كرانفيلد البريطانية بالشرق الأوسط، وعمل كمحاضر أكاديمي بعدة جامعات منها جامعة برونيل البريطانية والCBA. شاكرة طبعاً للأودينس اللي معانا ولإطار جروب. شكر للحضور. كنت معكم دكتورة هبة جمال، أستاذ مساعد في كلية الإعلان في جامعة الأعمال والتكنولوجيا في الكونسيومر بيهيفير والديجيتال ماركتينج، ووكيلة سابقة لكلية إدارة الأعمال للشؤون الأكاديمية، ومقدمة برامج وصانعة محتوى سابق في برنامج سيدتي وكلام نواعم على شاشة الMBC وروتانا خليجية. شكراً لك دكتور طلال، يعني أضفت لنا الكثير بالمعرفة وإحساس المسؤولية من كل شخص فينا، كيف يكون له دور فعال to be an ambassador لبلده، يطور أكثر من مكانه، ويكون عارف إنه في كل بلد في رؤية له دور كمان فعال من عمله من منصبه إنه يساعد في تطويرها. يعطيك العافية. It was our pleasure to have you today. إن شاء الله we will have you more and more in different sessions.
شكرا لكم، وأنا سعيد جدا بوجودي معكم، والله يعطيكم ألف عافية وألف شكر again لكم كلكم جميعا.